Hey, what's going on guys? So today we're checking out the Play Arts Kai Final Fantasy VII Remake Sephiroth. So I hope you guys will enjoy the video, and with that being said, let's get into it. Stay tuned guys. Okay, so first up, let's take a look at the packaging. So on the front we have a nice photo of the figure itself, and we also have the Play Arts Kai and Final Fantasy VII Remake logos. So on the sides of the packaging we have the logo once again, and it's pretty much the exact same on the other side. On the back we have a couple of screenshots of the figure itself in various poses, and down here we have some credits on the making of the figure. So here's a look at the inside of the packaging, and right over here we have a super nice photo of the figure itself, very high quality. And down here we have a bit of text on the character, so if you guys want to read this, then feel free to pause and read. And over here we have the figure itself in a very nice window display packaging to showcase the figure inside the box with all the accessories. Okay, so here's a look at the accessories that come with the figure. So as you guys can see, we have quite a few pairs of interchangeable hands. Here we have the figure itself, and of course we have the blade in the back, Masamune. And here we have a spare interchangeable faceplates. And of course we have the Play Arts Kai stand and the packaging. And down here we have the instructions on how to assemble the faceplates for the figure. Okay, so this is just a quick look at my entire Play Arts Kai Final Fantasy VII Remake and AC figures. So here's a look at my entire collection and how I display my figures. So yeah, I will have a review of every single figure here, so if you guys want to check it out, then it will be on the channel. So don't forget to subscribe and be sure to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these remake figure reviews. So yeah, this is all the remake figures. As you can see, we have Rude, Sephiroth, Reno, Aerith, Rufus, Red 13, Cloud Strife, and Tifa. I've also got the Barrett 2.0 down here. So yeah, that's a look at my entire collection. Let's go right ahead and take a closer look at the Play Arts Kai Sephiroth. Stay tuned guys. Okay, so let's go right ahead and take a look at the figure. So now, the reason why I display the figure with this head sculpt instead of the standard head sculpt, which is down here, is because I think this head sculpt looks a lot better. I really don't know why, but this head sculpt looks very natural on the figure, whereas the head sculpt down here, it doesn't look that great on the figure. But I will give you guys a look at this head sculpt on the figure a little bit later on. So anyhow, let's take a look at the head sculpt. And as you can see, his eyes are closed, which I just think looks amazing. You know, we've never had a head sculpt quite like this from Play Arts Kai, so it just adds a bit of variation for the head sculpts. But yeah, you can see his eyelashes and eyebrows painted in there, and his lips are painted a very dark purple, which, you know, is very, very menacing. Really suits the character. And here's a look at the hairpiece, this long silver hairpiece which goes all the way down. It's very nicely done, and it's also made out of a soft piece of plastic, so it doesn't really hinder the articulation, which is a really nice touch. So anyhow, that's a look at the alternate faceplates. Moving down here to the body piece of the figure, and here we have the chest. So now I would say the design of Sephiroth from the remake, it isn't that much different from his design from AC. Overall, it's pretty much the exact same design. And here's a look at the piece of armor on his shoulder. You know, it's not completely clean. We do have bits of battle damage, like all these nicks and tears sculpted in there. It's actually very nice. And here we have the chest piece with this long black cloak piece. We even have like all the zips sculpted in there, which is pretty impressive detail. You know, I still don't know what this is. Is it really a belt, or is it like a decorative piece of armor? I really don't know. But yeah, very interesting design. It's you know, it really stands out on the figure. I just don't know why they decided to include this on the new design for the remake Sephiroth. They haven't fully explained what this is, but I'm assuming it is a belt. If someone can let me know in the comments below what exactly this is. And here we have the other hand holding the katana, Masamune, which goes all the way down here. As you guys can see, a very long blade. It's probably like the longest blade in gaming. And here's a look at the waist, and we have the long black cloak piece with all these lines sculpted into the cloak. It's a pretty strange design. I really don't know why they decided to include these. These lines aren't on the AC version of Sephiroth. Anyhow, here we have all these belts and buckles sculpted onto the cloak. Moving down here we have the boots. So here's the side of the figure, and we have a nice look at the hairpiece. So we can see all the strands of hair so intricately sculpted in there, which goes all the way down here to the back. So I do think the hairpiece looks a lot better on this remake version compared to the AC version. But I'll give you guys a comparison on both of the figures a little bit later on. Anyhow, here we have the shoulder pads. And the side of the figure with this really strange looking belt. And the hands, of course, we have Masamune on the other side, which goes all the way down here. And of course we have the cloak piece with all these strange lines and patterns inside the cloak. And there's a look at the boots. And this is the other side of the figure, and we have the hairpiece, this long silver hairpiece. The shoulder pad, which is very smooth, as you can see. It almost gives off like a matte finish, which I think is really cool. And I guess this is a better look at the handle of Masamune, just in case you guys want to check it out. I mean, that's such a long blade. As you guys can see. Of course we have the waist, the cloak, and the boots. Okay, so here's the back of the figure, and I've got to say, I love this hairpiece so much. It just looks absolutely amazing. I love the sculpt in here, I love the paint job. As you can see, it gives off a nice shine in the lights, which makes it look very, very majestic, very elegant. And here's a cloak piece with these patterns sculpted into the back once again. And of course we have the boots. Okay, so here's a look at the figure with the standard head sculpts, and as you can see, his eyes are open. So yeah, as I mentioned before, I just don't think this head sculpt looks as good as the head sculpt with his eyes closed. I don't know what it is, there's just something about this head sculpt which I don't like. I think maybe the eyes just don't look quite right. The face just doesn't stand out enough for me. Okay, so here we have a comparison on both of the Sephiroth figures made by PlayArtKai. So of course we have the original Final Fantasy VII Advent Children Sephiroth. And of course we have the remake. So I would say in terms of the design, I mean they're pretty much the exact same design. There's really not much of a difference. But in terms of how they're made, they're much different figures. But yeah, which one do you guys like better, the AC or the remake? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, so let's take a look at the head sculpts. So now I will make a full comparison review on both of these figures. So if you guys want to check that video out, then it will be on the channel. But for this video, I just thought I would give you guys a quick look at the main differences on both of these Sephiroths. So here we have the AC. I mean, I love this figure so much. This is probably still my favorite Sephiroth figure. I just think the head sculpt looks so much more menacing. So I would say overall, I still prefer the AC version of Sephiroth. It is a much better figure. And here's a look at the body piece with the long black cloak and the black boots. Which, seeing these figures side by side, you really couldn't tell too much of a difference in terms of the body piece, apart from this here silver belt at the waist on the remake. It is a little bit different, but yeah, very similar figures. And here's a look at the hand holding Masamune on the AC version, and of course we have the hand holding Masamune on the remake, which are pretty much the exact same looking. I think maybe the remake blade maybe slightly longer. And of course we have the one wing, which is the most amazing accessory for any PlayArtKai figure out there. This is probably why this is still my favorite Sephiroth out of the two. So I would say if you guys are debating which one to pick up, I would say go for the AC version over the remake. Okay, so here's the back of the figures. So now the hairpiece on the back is very different for both of these figures. I would say the hairpiece on the remake looks a lot better compared to the AC. It just looks so much more majestic. It looks very full. And I love the paint job, like the silver paint job, which looks super shiny in the lights. Yeah, really amazing sculpting. Whereas the hairpiece on the back of the AC version doesn't look that great. It looks very, it doesn't look very full. It looks like he's missing hair. And the paint job isn't as great, and the hair is kind of made out of this translucent piece of material, as you can see, which, I never really liked this. And of course the main difference here is the wing on the AC version, which does not come with the remake. And so here's the side of the figures, and you can really see a big difference in terms of the build. I mean, the remake version is a lot, it's a lot taller, it's a lot more beefier compared to the AC version. The AC version is very slim. It's actually a pretty light figure, whereas the remake version is pretty heavy. So yeah, that's a look at the main differences on both these figures. Hope this quick comparison helps. Okay, so let's take a look at the articulation for the figure. So now I've got to say, the figure does not have the best articulation. It's probably the worst articulation out of all the remake figures. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. It's a very bulky figure. He's very chunky, so the articulation just doesn't really move that well. But anyhow, let's take a look at what we have here. So we have a ball joint at the head. Right at the base of the hairpiece, we have this ball hinge joint, which is a really nice touch because you can pose the hair any which way you want and it will hold that position. And as I mentioned before, the hairpiece is made out of a soft piece of plastic. And same goes for this cloak piece. It's made out of a softer piece of plastic. Now, as for the shoulders, we have these ball hinge joints, although they are quite restricted due to these here shoulder pad pieces, which don't really move very well. That's about as far as I can move it. Here at the biceps, we have these swivel joints. We have these double hinge joints at the elbows, and these are new joints. These here are double hinge joints at the elbow, so we can bend it all the way up like so, which is a really nice added articulation. At the wrists, we have these ball hinge joints, and we have a ball joint at the torso piece, which is quite restricted due to the jackets. So at the waist, we also have a ball joint, and right here at the hips, we have these ball ratchet joints, as you guys can hear. So we have a swivel joint at the thigh, and we have a double hinge joint at the knee, although once again, it is quite restricted due to the jacket piece. And of course, at the ankle piece, we have a ball hinge joint in there, and we have a hinge joint at the toe. So yeah, overall, I mean, it's not bad articulation, but it is quite restrictive. Okay, so that about covers it for the PlayArts Kai Final Fantasy VII Remake Sephiroth. So guys, it is a pretty nice figure. I mean, if you guys are a big fan of Sephiroth, then I would recommend picking up this figure. But I mean, if you guys don't have a Sephiroth figure already, then I would recommend picking up the AC version of Sephiroth over the remake. I just think this version is a lot better overall. But yeah, I hope this review was helpful and I hope you guys enjoyed. And as I mentioned before, I will have a review of every single figure here. So if you guys want to check it out, then it will be on the channel. So don't forget to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these remake figure reviews. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Alright, take it easy guys.